Poof! At last, the battle in the sky was decided. Under the attack of the Demon Sovereign's demon golem, the Demon Sovereign's body and soul were completely annihilated. Xiao Yin, with the demon's radiance still swirling around him, stood on the edge of the sky. Behind him, the demon golem grew increasingly eerie. Both of them pushed their power together, resisting the terrifying residual shockwaves from the devastating attack. The demon seal planted by the demon sovereign instantly disappeared. A great sigh of relief washed over countless powerful beings, who casually collapsed to the ground. The feeling of surviving a calamity reminded them once again of the preciousness of life. It's not over yet. The explosion shockwaves are too intense. If they spread, the demon realm beyond the third layer of the clean territory might become barren. Xiao Yin and the others stood firm in the sky, watching as the destructive force, which had easily shattered the reincarnation latitude and the demon realm's central altar, swept in all directions. Their faces grew heavy with concern. Xiao Yin, force it into the poison god realm. I have a plan. The barriers of their respective regions shattered in an instant, and Kylin's soul transmission appeared in Xiao Yan's mind. Understood. Xiao Yin responded and immediately began to act. At the same time, a towering beam of light, filled with countless forces, mysteriously appeared in the void of the poison god realm. The power contained within it reached a level that could obliterate anything in its path. Even Kylin found it incredibly difficult to face. However, there was no choice. The 5 major regions of the demon realm, along with the upper echelons of the Boundless fire domain, had already exhausted all their power by forming the reincarnation latitude and infusing the 10-colored scales. At this moment, it seemed that only Kylin could act. Rustle. The shockwaves from the battle techniques of the semi-god techniques should be enough to create a new supreme powerhouse, right? As the energy beam appeared, a group of people outside the hive-like area in the poison god realm noticed an ordinary-looking, emaciated old man quietly walking to a dark corner. Smiling, he raised his hand and revealed a flawless jade mirror. The jade mirror, completely silver-white, emanated a subtle mysterious energy, releasing a faint aura of demonic power. The energy beam from the reincarnation latitude, seemingly drawn by this power, mysteriously deviated from Kylin's attack range and was completely absorbed by the mirror. Slowly, a graceful silhouette began to form within the mirror. Who is it? To absorb such vast energy, the location chosen by this person was naturally quite conspicuous. Within moments, Kylin noticed the strange scene. Although this resolved the final thorny issue, Kylin couldn't shake the intense unease rising in her heart. The inheritance of the 10-colored heaven swallowing python? This world is indeed flourishing, with new marvels continually emerging. Looking at the figure before him, the emaciated old man showed no sign of concern. He slowly raised his other hand, and an oppressive, mysterious force filled the surroundings, rendering Kylin's body immobile. In an instant, Kylin's body stiffened. The flow of her bloodline and other powers slowed down, as if she had been banished to some unknown realm. This fluctuation was undoubtedly many times more powerful than that of the demon sovereign and others. It was even comparable to the peak power of the 10-colored heaven-swallowing python. Die! A cold, emotionless voice echoed, and the space around Kylin gradually began to collapse. The wave of death filled her mind. The power of this figure before her was so terrifying that she could not resist it with her current strength. Her silver teeth clenched, and the 10-colored snake spirit and the bloodline within her body surged with boiling energy. Roar! At the same time, a golden dragon shadow suddenly split the void behind Kylin, and a roar that shook the heavens reverberated across the sky. At the moment the dragon's roar rang out, the destructive, deathly aura was immediately shattered by the shockwave. A golden dragon king. The dragon clan can't even protect itself, yet it still has the energy to watch over these weaklings. Truly a foolish person. However, this mission in the demon realm is nearly over. Next time we meet, it might not be so simple, the emaciated figure said, and with a sudden tear in the surrounding void, he completely vanished from sight. Gulch. Watching this unfold, Kylin's demon-subduing sword and the tin-colored snake spirit within her erupted with a towering aura of fear, as if the previous barely detectable fluctuation had put them on high alert. It can't be. Was that just my imagination? Recalling the bizarre situation just now, Kylin furrowed her brow, because she clearly recognized a familiar figure from that strange realm. That was the new realm lord of the ghost realm, Thunderlord? After a brief moment of hesitation, with no conclusive answer, Kylin pushed aside her concerns and led her forces toward the demon god palace. The calamity of the demon realm had finally been completely shattered. Domain Lord Xiao, I can't thank you enough. The catastrophe has finally come to an end. The surviving leaders of the 5 major regions of the demon realm, including the demon god palace and poison god palace, gathered together, all greeting Xiao Yan with smiling faces. If it weren't for Xiao Yan's intervention, this catastrophe might have been irreversible. No need, Xiao Yan shrugged slightly, his gaze shifting to Sui Ying beside him. His meaning was clear. The high-ranking officials hesitated for a moment, but when they saw the faint magical glow on the demon sword in Sui Ying's hand, they no longer hesitated. Sui Ying's relationship with Xiao Yan was extraordinary. Having her rule the demon realm was not out of the question, though her strength might be a bit difficult for some to accept. From now on, I will take control of the demon realm, with the sacred demon sword in hand. With Xiao Yan's permission, a wave of immense dark and malevolent energy surged from Sui Ying. She raised the demon sword, her face solemn, addressing the gathered crowd. From now on, Sui Ying will be the ruler of our demon realm. The elder of the demon god palace and others immediately acknowledged. The disaster in the demon realm has ended. Everyone should return to their own territories to reorganize. We'll rest here for a while before heading home, Xiao Yan smiled as he glanced at Kylin, Xun'er, and the others. Let's take a break. Kylin and Xun'er smiled brightly. This aura. It feels somewhat familiar, Kylin murmured. But just as everyone was about to leave the meeting place to rest, a figure, drenched in blood and looking disheveled, appeared in the sky above the demon realm. As soon as it appeared, Xiao Yan's bloodline power began to stir. Xiao Gui? Kylin and Xun'er exclaimed in unison, their voices filled with shock and urgency. Master Xiao Yan, something bad has happened. The catastrophe in the demon realm seems to have been a plot by the extraterritorial evil clan to lure us out. The 4th evil god led an army to attack the headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain. The space portals of the Boundless Flame Alliance and the other 4 regions have been sealed. The alliance is on the verge of collapse. Bang! The temperature in the air immediately froze, a chilling fury spreading that almost twisted the very soul. Xun'er, Kylin, leave part of the reinforcements to guard the demon realm. The rest, follow me back to the Boundless Fire Domain. We leave immediately. Yes. At this moment, unease stirred within Xiao Yan's heart. The 4th evil god? That was an existence far beyond ordinary 7th reincarnation experts. How could the Boundless Fire Domain's headquarters withstand such a force? But the Boundless Flame Alliance had just been established, and the Boundless Fire Domain was the result of Xiao Yan and the others' years of effort. He could not allow it to be destroyed. The extraterritorial evil clan was trying to set an example by making an example of them. Strange. Why does the aura of one of the 4 guardian law protectors from the extraterritorial evil clan appear in the demon realm? And why is it entangling Kylin? What is the extraterritorial evil clan planning? It seems we need to resolve the internal strife in the clan quickly, but that Silver Dragon King and the heir carrying the Dragon God's will by her side are not easy to deal with. Far away, a middle-aged man, bathed in a golden dragon robe, shook his head helplessly. His dragon might was overwhelming, and the power within him seemed to transcend the peak of this world. Meanwhile, at the Boundless Fire Domain, as Xiao Yan and the others fought in the demon realm, intense battles were unfolding. Xiao Yan and his group rushed toward the Boundless Fire Domain after finishing the battle in the demon realm, but the journey was long, and it was uncertain whether they could make it in time. As the core of the Boundless Flame Alliance, The Boundless fire domain was surrounded by countless holy flame fires, protecting it from common evil presences and powerful evildoers who could not approach quietly. The fire domains formed by the holy flames became natural barriers within the Boundless fire domain, providing peace of mind. Strange. I've been feeling uneasy lately. Even my chest feels slightly uncomfortable. Could something significant be about to happen? Yun, graceful and with an unmatched figure, sat alone in the quiet mistress hall, dealing with some matters concerning medicinal pills and resource distribution within the Boundless Flame Alliance. However, she couldn't shake off an overwhelming sense of unease, as if something terrifying was about to occur. With Xiao Yin leading most of the powerful fighters to support the demon realm, and Mu Ying still in closed-door cultivation, the strength of the Boundless fire domain was rather weak, with only the White Bone Elder, Cold-Blooded General, the Xiao clan's guardians, and a few reincarnation stage experts remaining. This made the situation rather worrying. Fortunately, the space portals connecting the other 4 regions allowed for mutual support in case anything happened. At this moment, the door to the mistress's hall was gently pushed open by a pair of snowy white wrists, and a soft, babyish figure tiptoed in. Upon seeing the worried expression on the face of the beautiful woman before her, the little girl lifted her pink, cute face and gazed at Yun. A look of confusion appeared on the little face, but the concern within it was something Yun could naturally sense. Earth Phoenix, don't disturb your sister. At that moment, a smart-looking little boy entered the door, his face stern as he scolded. Got it, the little girl replied. Heavenly Dragon Brother, let's go get some delicious food. The 2 little ones flashed and instantly disappeared from the scene. These 2 were, of course, spirits born from the sword soul of the Taiji Heavenly Emperor Sword. Their powers had both reached the peak of the 5th reincarnation stage, yet their minds were no different from ordinary human children of about 10 years old. They were among the most remarkable powers in the Boundless fire domain today. After all, when the 2 teamed up, even ordinary experts at the 6th reincarnation stage would find it difficult to gain an advantage. Such adorable little ones. Looking at the 2 children leaving, Yun felt both joy and frustration in her heart. Kylin, Xiao, Xun'er, Shaolin. They had all found their happiness with Xiao Yin, but how she wished she could do the same. Now, Xiao and Shaolin had naturally inherited the Xiao clan's bloodline. Not willing to stay under the protection of the mighty eagle, they had ventured out to train on their own. However, their safety was always closely monitored by Xiao Yin and the others, and their identities and bloodline powers were hidden. In the vast Great Thousand Worlds, very few knew their true identities. The divine sword is humming. What's going on? Suddenly, on the wooden rack where the Taiji Heavenly Emperor sword was placed beside Yun, the divine sword, which had been silent until now, began to glow brilliantly, emitting a resonating hum, as if it had been provoked and sensed danger. Someone, activate the highest level of alert at the headquarters of the Boundless fire domain. Yun suddenly realized something, gripping the divine sword as she called out to the personal guards outside the mistress's hall. Madam, what's happening? 2 personal guards rushed into the hall, noticing Yun's frantic expression, and immediately asked in confusion. After all, the highest level of alert in the Boundless fire domain required a decision made by the domain lord alone, or through the joint agreement of many senior members within the domain. While the mistresses had decision-making powers, they still wanted to get a clear answer. After all, no suspicious energies had been detected in the entire Boundless fire domain. Prepare the highest level of defense quickly, or it will be too late. I will bear full responsibility for this. Yun knew better than anyone that once the highest level of alert was activated, it would deplete countless precious resources from the Boundless fire domain. But even if this were merely an illusion created by her divine sword, Yun couldn't afford to take any chances. After all, this was the Boundless fire domain, Xiao Yan's hard-earned foundation. Yes. Hearing Yun's severe voice, the personal guards immediately nodded and rushed to the secret chamber's control hub. I hope it's just my imagination. Gripping the divine sword, Yun stood up, radiant reincarnation power emerging around her. Her peak fifth reincarnation stage strength was fully displayed as she moved with graceful lotus steps, heading toward the high platform of the Boundless Fire Domain. In an instant, the entire Boundless Fire Domain, once quiet, was flooded with countless flames. Layer upon layer of multicolored sacred flame energy covered the sky, protecting the domain beneath. The sacred flame power within was vast, pulsating with dozens of different waves. One of the powers in the highest alert system was the sacred flame essence fire left behind by the four mistresses, Xun'er, Yun, Sui Ying, and Kylin, along with Xiao Yin and the others. Using such a force was an immense loss, but the protection of the domain was far more critical. What's going on? Why has the highest level of alert been activated in the Boundless Fire Domain? At the same time, high-ranking officials from the other three continents in the Boundless Fire Domain looked up, their eyes turning toward the headquarters of the domain. Activating such an alert, did this mean an enemy was approaching? Consolidate our forces and head toward the headquarters. In an instant, within the four continents, except for the Xinling continent, which occupied the headquarters, and the continent ruled by the Princess of the Stars, the experts from the other two continents began to gather their forces and move toward the high platform at the headquarters. The many powerful figures residing in the headquarters, sensing the violent rise of sacred flames in the void of the Boundless Fire Domain, slowly walked out of their residences and gathered on the high platform. "Madam, what's happening?" Some high-ranking officials who were unaware of the situation glanced around and saw that the only anomaly was the dense black cloud layer surrounding the void outside the Boundless Fire Domain. They couldn't help but ask, "An enemy is invading." Yun spoke softly, her beautiful eyes filled with an unprecedented pressure as she gazed up at the distant black clouds. It seemed the source of the divine sword's hum came from there. Have they been discovered? Well, the seal in the abyss should soon be broken by the mystic in Rakshasa. Let's go. It's time to pay these guys a visit. In an instant, the black clouds outside the Boundless Fire Domain began to swirl. In the blink of an eye, they released a pitch-black fog that completely enveloped the massive core of the Boundless Fire Domain. A wave of extreme evil energy, like a pressure wave, surrounded the Boundless Fire Domain, wrapping it entirely, resembling the confines of a hellish prison. On the enormous, endless platform, many powerful figures slowly stood. Even with the separation provided by the sacred flame fire domain, the terrifying energy emanating from the dark clouds was still overwhelming, causing unease in the hearts of all present. It seemed the power emanating from these clouds was several times stronger than Xiao Domain Lord's own strength. Extraterritorial evil clan? At this moment, the high-ranking officials clearly recognized the seriousness of the situation. Their hearts stirred as immense reincarnation power enveloped them, ready to be unleashed at any moment. Boom! My lord, the seal is weakening. We can leave now. Immediately, in the distant territory ruled by the Princess of the Stars within the Boundless Fire Domain, a figure bathed in pure white light stepped before an abyss that stretched 10,000 fathoms deep. In their hands, a strange power began to surge. The white light surrounding them acted as a barrier, isolating them from the divine aura of the Boundless Fire Domain. It was a profound mystery. As the figure's power surged, the sound of chains breaking echoed from the abyss below, and an immense, oppressive presence slowly began to awaken. This figure was none other than the half-demonic god, mystic in Rakshasa, sent by the fourth evil god to rescue a powerful figure here. So, this is the so-called headquarters of the Endless Flame Alliance, the Boundless Fire Domain? Everyone, come out and face your doom. At the same time, a strange figure suddenly appeared above the 10,000-meter abyss on Tianqing continent. The overwhelming demonic sound shook the hearts of every strong figure in Tianqing continent. Even after countless cycles of reincarnation, with the help and intelligence of mystic in Rakshasa, the figure was fully aware of the situation. The black shadow in the abyss casually stepped across it, their massive body as solid as a mountain. The boundless reincarnation power around them exuded a tremendous force that bewildered the high-ranking figures, led by the Princess of the Stars, in the distance. The figure was cloaked in a peculiar black robe, seemingly ordinary, but etched with images of fearsome, unyielding creatures. Beneath the robe, the skin and flesh were marred by countless crisscrossing scars, amplifying the ferocity of their aura. As soon as the figure emerged, their eyes turned bloodthirsty, and their sharp teeth gleamed with murderous intent. The chill in their presence was palpable, as if they harbored an ancient, unrelenting hatred for the Xiao clan. Princess. Watching the power fluctuations around the princess, countless onlookers' eyes turned crimson. Ants. In response to the scene before them, the shadow and mystic in Rakshasa sneered. With a casual wave, several strong figures were immediately sent flying thousands of meters back, coughing up blood. So strong. What kind of power is this? Far in the distance, at the headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain. Enemy attack. Defend. Even though the Boundless Fire Domain was surrounded by countless evil forces, the countless powerful figures inside showed no sign of panic. With perfect coordination, they effortlessly set up defensive formations, creating natural barriers and arrays under the leadership of several elite figures. The White Bone Elder, Cold-Blooded General, some powerful members of the Xiao clan's guardian faction, Yun Qi, Yuan Yin, Mu Feng, and other trusted figures of the Boundless Fire Domain appeared before the allied forces. As they gazed at the oppressive black clouds on the distant horizon, a weighty feeling descended upon them, almost suffocating them. With their combined defenses, assisted by the protection of the Boundless Fire Domain, the progress of the dark magical fog slowed. But the shadow in the Tianqing continent's abyss was still advancing, step by step, towards them. It's coming with great force. The various powerful figures' hearts chilled, but they had already prepared for the worst. Clearly, ever since they decided to join the Endless Flame Alliance, they had expected the situation to grow perilous. However, they never imagined the day would come so soon. Suddenly, the entire starry sky fell silent, but the blood-red demonic clouds continued to churn, containing a number of powerful figures far greater than the combined forces of the Boundless Fire Domain. How's the situation? Before long, Yun, along with Tianlong and Dufeng, inquired of Yin Qi and the other trusted figures. Reporting, mistress, the situation is grim. The headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain, connected to the Ghost Realm, Celestial Realm, and even the Monster Realm, along with the Fire Sprite clan's territories, has all been temporarily sealed by a wave of evil energy. Yin Qi's strength, although only at the 6-star Do Xian level just moments ago, was formidable. However, he was the brother of Mu Ying, and with his strategic command and the hidden intricacies behind his forces, he wielded significant power. I see, Yun nodded before turning her gaze back to the dark magic clouds hovering in the sky. The energy within those magic clouds could easily crush the Boundless Fire Domain. Why hadn't they moved yet? Report, mistress. There is something strange. Apart from the Xinling continent, which serves as the headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain, one of the other 3 continents, ruled by the Princess of the Stars, seems to have fallen silent. Since their alert began, they haven't responded to the calls from the headquarters. It's as if they've lost contact. At that moment, the White Bone Elder stepped forward, revealing the most puzzling detail. They seem to be waiting for something? Just as this thought crossed her mind, an ominous and terrifying roar, sealed for countless reincarnations, erupted from the deep abyss of the 4 continents forming the Boundless Fire Domain. It sounded like a bloodthirsty beast awakening from slumber. Not good. Upon sensing this, Yun cried out in alarm, and just as she was about to stand up and investigate, a dark, otherworldly aura surged from the depths of the Boundless Fire Domain. That direction. Was it the abyss of Tianqing continent? That place had been something Xiao Yin had warned her to be extra cautious about. As this evil energy emerged, the holy flames of the Boundless Fire Domain stirred violently, as if sensing a fatal threat. The flames surged forward in waves, eager to repel the danger. But it was too late. A true demon emerged, slowly tearing through the void, heading straight for the headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain. The waves of energy emanating from it were beyond the peak of this world. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yin, the previous battle was indeed my mistake, but even though you defeated me, you can't erase my existence. You may have imprisoned and sealed me through countless reincarnations, but what of it? Here, there exists the foul and detestable aura unique to your Xiao clan. Today is the day I break free. I will wash away the land of your clan's descendants with blood. From the abyss, a monstrous magic aura surged, swirling around a blood-red evil light that hung in the sky like a rising crimson sun, casting its shadow over all. The deafening roar of magic shocked every individual present. The vast magic sound poured out of the abyss in Tianqing continent, instantly drawing the attention of countless powerful beings. The towering flame barrier formed by the Boundless fire domain's protective flames bent like rain, trying to suppress and annihilate the threat. Unfortunately, these holy flames were too weak against this figure. Most of the towering fire curtain disintegrated in the hands of Demon Tuo. The upper echelons of the Boundless fire domain were shaken. This guy, looking at the evil aura emanating from the distance, which was even stronger than the presence of the extraterritorial evil clan's experts surrounding the Boundless fire domain, Yunyun's holy flames buzzed in response, unconsciously manifesting outside her body. The sacred flames trembled, bursting with terrifying power, which contained a sharp sense of impending danger. That danger was coming from the far-off abyss, and clearly, even Demon Tuo was feeling immense pressure from it. This guy is the legendary expert from the Buddhist realm, Demon Tuo? The upper echelons of the Boundless fire domain felt a chill in their hearts as they focused on the abyss in Tianqing continent. Two evil auras loomed, Demon Tuo and the mystic Rakshasa. At this moment, the blood-red, sinister eyes of Demon Tuo were filled with an endless murderous intent, his presence sweeping across the void and sending shockwaves through everyone present. Especially the guardians of the Xiao clan atop the endless platform, who felt as if they were the very source of this hatred and fury. Yet, none noticed that on Demon Tuo's body, which was cloaked in a black robe, there were numerous unhealed scars, forming what seemed to be an arcane seal. Buddhist realm expert, Demon Tuo, the elder brother of Buddha, he was said to have been slain by the Xiao clan's grand elder, Xiao Yin, during the Great Heavenly War. How can he still be alive? And according to ancient texts, at the time of their battle, his power was only at the 6th reincarnation stage. But now, how could he have broken through to the 8th reincarnation stage? A grave expression crossed Yunyun's face. The evil and malicious aura surrounding Demon Tuo was so intense that even Yunyun found it difficult to bear. If he were to unleash his fury, the entire Boundless fire domain would likely be destroyed in an instant. The immense shock and overwhelming pressure gradually swept through Yunyun's heart, leaving her with a sense of helplessness. Her mind was filled with confusion, as it seemed that this situation was a deadlock, with no way to break it. Under the crushing force of absolute power, every move seemed to be futile. 8th reincarnation stage. Even just the power of Demon Tuo alone could completely wipe out the current Boundless fire domain, let alone the evil forces swirling outside, within the demon clouds. But this place was Xiao Yan's blood, sweat, and tears. Since Xiao Yan had entrusted it to her before leaving, she could never allow it to be destroyed, even if she had to give everything she had to protect it. The powerful figures of the Boundless fire domain watched the figure of Demon Tuo and the countless evil figures lurking within the demon clouds. They exchanged looks of uncertainty. Despair began to creep into the hearts of the people within the Boundless fire domain, as sorrowful tears and tragic emotions slowly spread among them. But amidst the hundreds and thousands of people, the tears were not driven by a fear of death. Instead, they carried a fierce determination, a willingness to fight to the death. It seemed that for them, being a member of the Boundless fire domain had long been an honor. Now, with the fire domain in danger, their protective instincts flared up even more. Even if it meant sacrificing their lives, they would not hesitate. Master, mistress. Among the higher-ups, many with fiery anger in their eyes spoke out. Their power began to surge as a tide of battle intent filled the air. Even if it was a battle to the death, they had no complaints. The boundless fire domain had sheltered them for countless years, and now it was time for them to repay that protection. Yes, I'm here. A tragic smile appeared on Yun's face as she turned to look at the higher-ups behind her. Despite some of them only being at the Doxian level, there was not a hint of fear in their eyes. She naturally believed in the loyalty of the higher-ups behind her. They were not the kind to fear death. As long as she gave the order, countless powerful figures would step forward courageously. But so what? Should she let them sacrifice themselves in vain? Could sacrificing them protect the boundless fire domain? The answers were all negative, because within the vast boundless fire domain, it seemed that only Yun, along with the heavenly dragon and earth phoenix, could sense the true power of the enemy. What did the 8th reincarnation stage signify? Even a 7th reincarnation stage expert would be as insignificant as an ant in the face of such power, let alone those around her, most of whom were below the 5th reincarnation stage. If she gave the order, it would be a last-ditch effort, completely extinguishing the final hope of the boundless fire domain. If Xiao Yin were here, what would he do? With 1,000 thoughts racing through her mind, Yun's gaze turned to the distant demon Tuwa, whose body began to shake as he walked towards the endless platform. His murderous aura felt like the arrival of death itself, causing countless strong warriors to feel a chill run down their spines. Mu Feng, Yun Qi, Yuan Yin, listen to my orders. I will create an escape route for you. You must take some of the bloodline power from the boundless fire domain and flee. Remember, you only have 3 breaths of time. A moment later, Yun slowly opened her beautiful eyes, which now radiated with determination. She held both the divine sword and sacred flame in her hands, her expression resolute. Mistress, why not fight to the death with them? Mu Feng's eyes were bloodshot, filled with a crazed look never seen before. In the face of such calamity, no one had thoughts of retreating, but why was the mistress different? Demon Tuo's strength was still unclear, but it hadn't reached this level yet. As long as the green hills remain, we won't be afraid of not having firewood. Faced with their confusion, Yun could only shake her head slightly. Their power was too different from the enemy's. Plus, Demon Tuo had been deliberately concealing his strength, so no one had noticed the full extent of his power. Even if they fought to the death, with the current strength of the boundless fire domain, no one would be able to break through the siege. Fighting to the death would only result in a meaningless sacrifice. Listen to my orders. Escort Xiao Gui and his family, the Guardian clan, and some of the younger bloodlines away. Prepare yourselves. Vroom vroom vroom. Finally, a cold, gloomy expression appeared on Yun's face as the divine sword and sacred flame fused in her hands. The beautiful glow was now filled with a terrifying energy that shook the heavens. A bunch of ants, today you shall be annihilated. Seeing Yun's actions, the mystic-ing Rakshasa sneered and then glanced at the demon Tuo beside her. It was wise of the evil god to send her to rescue demon Tuo. There was no need to waste a single soldier, and yet the entire boundless fire domain would be wiped out. In the distance, Yun's attack became more intense, with a force that seemed to tear the heavens apart. The entire void buzzed with a deafening sound. Yun swung her sword, and what appeared to be an incredibly fierce attack was casually deflected by Demon Tuo, as though the full-force strike was nothing more than a joke in his eyes. The entire sky over the boundless fire domain fell into an eerie silence. The powerful expert's pupils contracted slightly, some unable to believe the scene unfolding before them. They rubbed their eyes in disbelief, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. But unfortunately, the reality was undeniable. A peak strength from the 5th reincarnation stage, combined with the divine sword, sacred flame, and other powers merged into an ultimate attack, was easily resisted by Demon Tuo in front of them. Move! In an instant, Mu Feng and the others gritted their teeth, and their bodies swiftly shifted, heading toward some secret chambers in the headquarters. Let's fight. Even if we die in battle, the boundless fire domain will never be a coward that retreats in the face of danger. Moments later, as they witnessed the shocking scene before them, the higher-ups had already made plans in their hearts. The grand momentum of the entire boundless fire domain surged forward, as though the wrath of the heavens itself was sweeping across the land. What a bunch of foolish, ignorant fools. Fine. Let your power help stabilize what's within me. After Demon Tua spoke, a towering magic figure rose around him, gradually eroding the very land itself. Lord Evil God, our power can only last for 15 minutes. After that, the peak forces of the great thousand worlds will detect our presence, and our situation will be precarious. What do you suggest we do? Outside the boundless fire domain, within the demonic clouds, the fourth evil god sat quietly on a blood-red stone throne. Many of his demonic guards and trusted subordinates looked at each other, puzzled. Their current power could easily destroy the boundless fire domain. So why was the evil god not making a move? No rush. The destruction of the boundless fire domain is only a matter of time. Let Demon Tua destroy the domain. Afterward, Xiao Yin will naturally take it out on the Buddhist realm. Once he vents his anger on them, it will undoubtedly reduce a lot of trouble for our extraterritorial evil clan. Besides, the power within Demon Tua is strange. That force doesn't seem to be something he can control. Rest assured, in the end, Demon Tua will only become my food. The evil god is wise. The voice gradually faded. However, no one noticed that on the very edge of the demonic clouds surrounding the boundless fire domain, there was a faint, domineering green demonic aura, accompanied by a trace of pure white light-like divine power following behind. The two strange forces chased after each other, seemingly using some special means to approach the boundless fire domain. Boom! The entire boundless fire domain erupted into a sea of flames. Terrifying energy waves surged constantly, transforming the area into a true battlefield. Heh! How can the glow of ants compare to mine? Looking at the battle intent surging everywhere in the boundless fire domain, Demon Tuo's face twisted into a mocking sneer. The demonic figure behind him radiated a dark, evil light, illuminating the entire domain in an instant. Wherever the demonic light touched, everything was reduced to dust. Even ordinary Do Di and Do Xian experts were turned into powder, perishing under the overwhelming power. His current strength, he thought, could likely overpower even the leader of the Buddhist realm. No one knew his secret. The Xiao clan's grudge would slowly begin here. Once he fully controlled the force inside him, what could the Xiao clan's Grand Elder do to him? Peak of the fifth reincarnation stage, celestial sword, sacred flame, unparalleled beauty. Are you willing to surrender to me? Looking at Yun leading the charge to block his path, Demon Tua didn't hurry. He narrowed his eyes and chuckled. The strongest person in this region, with only the peak of the fifth reincarnation stage, was simply not enough to challenge him. Dream on. Yun coldly responded to Demon Tuo's offer. In that case, let's be destroyed together. The demonic figure behind Demon Tua began to stir. Black demonic power poured out from it, and wherever it spread, the very fabric of space twisted and contorted. Wherever it reached, whether human or beast, they were sucked into the figure, becoming its source of power. You are no match for him. When the strike failed, the petite figure of the flower spirit appeared, gazing intently at the arrogant Demon Tua before her. At the same time, a nearly ethereal floral pattern began to appear on the center of the flower spirit's forehead, beautiful beyond description, as though it contained a power that transcended the very heavens. What is that power? At that moment, Demon Tuo's face changed drastically. Despite his immense strength, he felt a chilling sense of impending death emanating from the floral pattern on the flower spirit's forehead. Demon Tuo's power is a mix of good and evil, hard to deal with. At this moment, the flower spirit, perched on Yun's shoulder, spoke strangely, seemingly at a loss for how to deal with it. Fuse with me. I know you are the legacy of the floral god, and now, there should still be a faint trace of that power within you. Yun smiled faintly, exhaling a breath of turbid air. It seemed as though she had gathered enough courage and, at this moment, had finally made her decision. The path of divine abode of the floral god, once embarked upon, either leads to success as the new floral god or failure, where both body and soul are obliterated. You are the 100th successor. Are you sure you want to continue? The fire sprite looked at Yun seriously, as if after Yun had completed the inheritance of the floral god's palace lord's power, her understanding of the floral god and herself had deepened considerably. However, Yun had never spoken of the floral god in the past, and now, with her sudden initiative, the fire sprite was somewhat astonished. Is there another choice? Yun smiled slightly, and her smile was sorrowfully beautiful. If possible, she would rather hide in the mountains with Xiao Yin and the others, leading a simple and peaceful life. Unfortunately, in this inevitable deadly situation, someone had to step forward. Accepting the path of divine abode of the floral god, Yun didn't have even the slightest confidence. And for Xiao Yan's sake, she had intentionally avoided the topic, never bringing it up. But now, with the great enemy at hand, in the past, all dangers were faced by Xiao Yin alone. Now that Xiao Yin wasn't here, as the mistress of the Boundless Fire Domain, the responsibility fell upon her to bear this heavy burden. Boom! The fire sprite gently entered Yun's forehead, immediately etching a stunningly beautiful floral pattern mark. The pattern was extraordinarily enchanting, as if drawn with vividly colored blood, a true masterpiece.